Hi everybody. So my audio stopped working just on the front part of this video. So for just the first 4 minutes, I'm dubbing over the video content. So go ahead and have a seat in Swastikasana. Flow the buttock towards the back of the knees. And take your hands there to the front of the knees so that you can straighten the arms and turn the outer upper arms back, in order to pin the outer shoulder blades in and lift the chest. Continue to help the lower back lengthen down, allowing the legs to be grounded. And then as you close your eyes and bring the palms together at the center chest, lengthen up through the crown of the head. And press the outer heel of the hands together to help the shoulders, again, release away from the ears, sides of the neck, long. Feel the breath in the sides of the body, maintaining that lift, that buoyancy in the shoulder girdle. And then join me for the sound of Om. Breathe in deeply. And then release the head down towards the heart center and surrender there. Release the hands with the palms up. Bring the head up with closed eyes. And then gently open the eyes. So we're going to get set up this morning lying on your back with your legs bent. But before we do that, please go ahead and stand up and get a bolster and bring that back to your mat along with a strap. Hopefully you already have a couple blankets there, maybe that you were sitting on beforehand. Those can just hang around. We might use them in a moment. But get that bolster and get the strap, and then come back to lying on your back with your knees bent. When the knees are bent like that, lengthen the back of the head away from the neck and descend the lower back. Allow that region to descend down. And then hug your right leg in. And then put the right foot on the floor and do the same thing with your left leg. So I know, just super duper simple. But when you hug the left leg in, observe how the left side of your lower back kind of spreads out against the earth. And then go back to the right leg, left foot flat on the floor, hug your right leg in. Now hold the right leg so your left hand holds the front of the knee and your right hand holds the outer ankle. And it will allow you to kind of accordion fold that leg a little more evenly. Pull straight down with both hands. And then change sides. Hold your left leg. Right hand holds the knee. The left hand holds the outer ankle. Pull straight down with both hands. Keep the neck relaxed. Of course, if you need a blanket under your head, just take it. Now, put your left foot flat on the floor. Hug your right leg in again, and this time, take your strap. Just let it be one long strap. Hook above your right heel and press that right heel to the ceiling for Supta Konasana 1. Now, your left leg is still bent, And when you straighten the right leg like that, heel pressing to the ceiling, right? Take a moment, and your elbows can just be on the ground there, shoulders rolling back. But now push into your left heel, lift the right buttock a little and move it away from you. So do that a couple times as if someone has this outer right groin and they're pulling it towards the wall where your left foot faces. Right? Then once you've made that space in your right lower back and right waist, just stay, heel to the ceiling, then spread the mound of the right foot towards the ceiling. And then release that leg. Left leg in, hook the foot, and once you straighten the leg, push your right heel down, get some movement in that outer left hip. Move it away and set it down. And do that a couple times. All right, so you can really feel the left side waist lengthen. Then mound of the foot presses upward. So it's just a refinement of that leg. Then release the left leg. Now, find your bolster, pull it in by your outer right hip. Right. Same thing, bend your right leg, hug it in, hook the foot, straighten the leg. Move that outer hip away. And you should feel that bolster there at your outer leg. Press through the mound of your right foot. Now keep that bolster there, keep your hip moving away, and take your right leg out to the right with your right elbow on the ground. And even once the leg comes out to the side now, feel how you can push your left heel down and move that outer right hip away from you, even as the mound of the right big toe presses away from you. So the bolster should act as a support, but now your left knee is also still a support. Let it lean to your left so that the right and left side of your pelvis are evenly on the ground. Then push out through your left heel, straighten the left leg. The left leg can be a little out to the left so that it helps give you the balance in your pelvis. The mounds of both foot press away. Observe that the lower back stays on the ground, neck and shoulders soft. Breathe. Breathe into the width of your side ribs, particularly the width in the sides of the chest. And then inhale, bring that right leg back up. Now, hold on with both hands. You can reach up towards your foot and bend the elbows to the sides. And then hug the right leg in. And let's go to the second side. So just move the bolster to your left. Start with both legs bent and hook your left foot and straighten your left leg. Move that outer hip away now. Really feel that you get some space there on the left waist. Then reach up with your left hand, but still, slide the strap so you can put your elbow on the ground. Open the left leg out to the left. Once you do, press the mound of your left big toe away and lean your right knee to the right. So the pelvis, the lower back are easily still on the ground. Then push out through your right heel. It can be a little bit over to the right of your mat. Mound of the right big toe away as the mound of the left big toe presses away. Supta Konasana in that lateral stage. Again, steer the breath into the side body. And then with your inhale, bring the left leg back up. Reach up with both close to your foot and bend the elbows to the sides a little, keeping the chest broad, and just breathe there for a moment. You can bring the leg in a little bit closer towards you, as long as the knees are lifted to straight and the hips are down. So get that space in the legs. And then release and hug that leg in. Put the strap aside, hug both legs in. Then go on and roll yourself onto the right hand side. Come up for a sec. You can just set the bolster aside and your blankets and so forth. What I'd like you to do is take the narrow edge of your mat to a wall. So, if you have wall ropes, you would go between the two wall ropes or close to the wall ropes, but you don't need them. So once you've done that, you can have a blanket for under your head if you want. But now we're just going to take both legs up the wall. So Prasarita Padasana at a 90 degrees. It just prevents us from having to use the strap. So be close, swing your legs up the wall, and then scoot yourself in so that you're in the right place for you. So if the hips are at the ground and the legs can be straight when your buttock touches the wall, then that's fine. But if when you get that close to the wall, it drags your hips up the wall, then you're too close. You just have to back out. The low back should be spreading against the ground. Okay, then once you get there, use an exhale in particular. Exhale, push the heels up the wall. When you do that now, flow the flesh of the buttock towards your heels, and you'll feel the low back will spread against the floor. There's a sense that your tailbone points to your heels then. That's the first part. So maintain that action. Look up at your feet. They'll be flexed, right? Then you just add in, spread the mounds of the foot so that they press slightly higher than your heels. Use the hands now. Heel of the hand at the top of your thigh. Push that region towards the wall. Keep the abdomen relaxed. Keep the legs working in that way. So the front thigh moves to the back thigh. Reach up, hook your thumbs, and inhale, pull the arms overhead. Now the arms elongate away from the waist. Now, if that happens to be too much for your neck, you just put, like a blanket under your arms or a bolster under your arms if you need, right? But now look for that space there. Change the crossing of your thumbs. Then release the arms. Now, you want the legs to stay oriented in the same way as you separate the legs and take them wide. So go find your width. And once you find, like, a comfortable width for you, pause and push the heels away. Buttock flows to the heels, meaning right buttock kind of flows to the right heel and the left buttock kind of flows to the left heel. Then spread the mounds of the foot to press away from you. And you can use your hands again to press the front thigh towards the wall. I always find, it gives a sense of, gosh, which leg does that? Is one leg, a little hesitant? Is there a sticky part in the hip or something? The low back should stay spreading against the earth, right? So notice if it just makes you super arch your back, then you have to add in to rolling the flesh of the buttock to the heels, right? Maintain that. Keep the legs working in that way. And again, hook your thumbs and pull the arms overhead, so that there's almost like a division of the body at your waist. Change the cross of your thumbs. Keep the neck soft. And then release the arms. Put your fingers at your outer thighs, right? So there's a little support. Bend your knees and bring the soles of the feet together for Badakanasana legs. Then, once you've done that, observe how it's pretty natural that the buttock kind of flows towards your heels. Maintain that, and you can use your hands to roll the legs away from you and towards the wall, but be gentle. Use the hands to promote a sense of flow of the inner thigh towards the inner knee. The knees should not be pained at all. Don't force anything that makes your knees unhappy. And then again, knees together, straighten the legs for Prasarita Padasana. Now from there, take the arms overhead. We're just repeating, but a little bit more efficiently. Take the legs wide, keep the arms overhead, but get that flow of the legs. Change the hook of your thumbs. Keep a mind's eye in how your low back functions with the action in your legs. Then use your hands at your outer legs to bend the knees, Badakanasana legs. Use the hands if you wish to help turn and flow the legs towards the wall. And then straighten the legs again in Upavishta or in Urva Prasarita Padasana. Now, from there, go on and roll to the right-hand side, come up. Okay, get a blanket And just come to sitting on your heels there, I don't know, like a foot in front of the wall or so. So once you have your blanket, open it so it's kind of a midway, like a rectangle, and then fold it in half the long way. So you have a long, kind of long-ish thick blanket. And that is going to go right at the top of your legs, right at the front groin. And we're just going to take child's pose. But, oh, I forgot one thing. Before we do, grab your bolster, put it in front of you. So we're going to take child's pose. This is going to be for your head. And then we're going to transfer into a downward dog. And this will be here for your head. If you think you need a little bit more height, just get a blanket and fold it in half and put it there on your bolster. If you're not sure, have it. You can always get rid of it. So now, I'll give you a second to get those things. Okay. You're going to widen the knees because we're going to take child's pose. Big toes stay together. But now before you go anywhere, I'm just moving this so you can see. Lift your hips and flow your buttock towards the back of your knees. So it makes the low back really long. Then the blanket goes over your legs. Pull the sides of the blanket down, but lift the frontal body up. Big inhale there and exhale, keeping the blanket down. Flow the body forward, hips down, and let your head rest on whatever you have there. Hopefully that bolster there catches your head. Feel how pulling the outer edges of the blanket down there gives you a self-adjustment. Then breathe into the back body. Then put your hands under your shoulders. Come up. Go ahead and set this blanket aside. And then come to hands and knees. Now, when you do, you want the bolster to be primarily under your whole torso. Have the blanket if you think you need it. But then from there, we're going to take downward dog. So heels against the wall. They don't necessarily have to touch the floor, but use them to push back and down. So the buttock flesh still is flowing towards your heels. And the head, of course, should be able to rest on the bolster or the bolster plus the blanket. Now, as you're in that downward dog, remember how the blanket affected that child's pose. And rebuild that same effort. Imagine the blanket were right on your top thighs and someone were pulling the outer edges of that blanket back. Then walk your feet about a foot forward of the wall. Feet still hips distance apart. Walk your hands back to your feet and bring the buttock to the wall. When you do, you can hold your elbows, but bend your knees a little bit. And to straighten your legs, push the heels down and flow the flesh of your buttock that catches the wall. Observe how that is pulled towards your heels. Hold the elbows, but lift through your kneecaps. And again, breathe into the back body.
Change the crossing of your arms. Feel how the arms kind of flow towards your ankles. And bring your hands to your waist and come up. Get a chair and bring it back to your mat. Okay. And you know what? You can bring your mat back out to your space in the middle of the room as well. We're going to use the wall again, but not for a little while. You know, and it's not even 100% necessary to have a chair, but if you could have a little table or a stool, all we're going to use it for is we're going to do some forward bends with support. So for example, we'll start in Upavishta, and we're just going to have the chair there to rest our head. So when we move around, the purpose of the chair is it helps me to keep my chest lifted as I come forward. So another thing that would be helpful is maybe if you're close to a coffee table or something you can push down on and you get the lift there. And then that's it. So come and sit in Upavishta. And remember, with Upavishta, you can take your blanket. So if sitting on the ground isn't comfortable, if you feel like you're getting pulled back, right? You take a blanket, you fold it so it has a nice finished corner like that. And you put that corner pointing straight forward like an arrow, so that when you then, oops, it got stuck. When you then sit on that corner, the corner points forward between your legs, and your two buttock bones have support, even support, and your back groins are still off the blanket. So it's a really nice way to use the blanket for Upavishta. Get the chair. You can put it right in front of you. I'm going to move mine here in front of me in a moment, but I want you to see what I'm going to do here. Just like in those other things, especially with the legs up the wall, right? Before you really settle in, lift and flow the buttock flesh to the back of your heels. Then hands kind of behind the hips. Spread the mounds of the foot to press away. So the knees lift and the thighs press down, helping your chest lift up. So the low back is still flowing downward. The buttock is still the flesh downward. Okay. And then get your chair or whatever you got there right in front of you. Hands to the seat of it, press down to lift your chest up. And here's the thing, not everybody needs a chair. I know that. I do know that. But I don't need a chair, but I still use it sometimes because it helps to catch that pranic flow. It gives a real ease in forward bends. But try it if you have it. It's really quite nice. But for this first Upavishta, we're just doing this much, just upright. But the hands should press to help build this lift in your side ribs while the buttock goes down. Then we're going to take the chair or the stool and just frame your right leg so that when you press your hands down, you get that turn in the trunk of the body so that your left foot can press away. So that you'll notice the weight will go into your right buttock bone. The left buttock bone will get light. Well, when you're upright like this, flow that outer left groin, hip crease, down. So it's similar to how you had that blanket and you were pulling it down. Feel how this outer hip descends with time. And it's not one great big boom action, it's progressive. And then move the chair over to your left leg. And then, of course, same thing. Turn to look towards your left leg. Mound to the right big toe away. That right buttock wants to hike up. Descend it. As if someone were just gently pulling this outer hip down. And then release back to center. So now I'm going to turn this way and sit in Dandasana, and we'll bring the chair here in front of us. Use your blanket today to sit on. And you see, I'm keeping it in this fold, so it's kind of narrow. And use that narrow edge. It'll just make it a little more efficient. Under both buttock bones. Sit straight up on there. That way it's narrow in the way that your buttock bones are also narrow. Flow the buttock. Then hands to the chair, spread and lift the chest. Now, Janu Shirshasana legs. We're going to bend our left leg first and bring the left heel in line with your left groin. So when I do that, you just be where you are, but if you can see me, watch for a second, because there's a lot of misunderstanding about Janu Shirshasana. For raw beginners, when they bend this leg, a lot of times they just do that. It's not wrong. I hope you can see, right? The sole of my foot's just against my left thigh. It's not wrong, but none of you are raw beginners. So when you can, you want to bring that heel to the same leg groin. It takes the thigh back a little bit, more than 90 degrees, and the toes kind of point at this leg. It's more, you get a greater pranic action out of that. And it's more correct over time. Over time, this is Mahamudra. You really want to get that openness. Then, I said I was turning, but no, I'm not. Hands, chair over the straight left leg, press the hands down, and again, turn the chest towards that left leg, and lift the chest. So just like in what we did with the legs spread wide, right? Your, let's see, that's your left leg that you bent. I am not mirroring you right now. So as you turn towards your right leg, descend that outer left groin, left buttock. It'll want to hike up. Descend as best as you can. Just give it time. Then walk the hands forward on the seat of the chair a little bit. You'll find when that left hand reaches forward, the left side ribs, back ribs flow towards the right leg. Descend that left hip. So really just be kind of minuscule about those actions. If you have more room to bend, then walk your hands up the backrest of the chair. You see, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to turn again so that you can. Many of you will do this naturally, but my straight right leg works with that back rung of the chair. And it gives me a little bit of stability when I press the mound of that foot into the back rung of the chair. Lift the chest, descend that outer left hip. Flow the thick back left ribs towards the inner right leg. And then, if you can, you bring the forearms down and rest your head. Of course, if you need a little bit of height there, just have a prop, some blankets or something, or stack your forearms up like that. Then inhale and come on up. Use your hand at your outer left knee, lift that knee, and straighten the left leg. Okay. So now other side. Bring the right leg out to the right. If you have knee issues, hold the inner knee. It'll help soften that region. Bring the right heel towards the right groin. That means the knee will be back a little beyond the hip. Hands to the chair. Hands down, chest up. Descend the right buttock. Take several breaths there. Use the mound of your left big toe to press into the back rung of the chair. I'm just moving a little so you can kind of see what that leg does. Those of you that have questions at all, it's good to see. Walk the hands towards the back of the chair seat to get a little bit more depth. Relax the knees so that there's no pressure there. Walk the hands up the backrest to get a little more depth. So kind of move at your own pace. And then if you like, you can bring the hands to the chair seat and bring the head down. But there's always that sort of relaxed effortfulness that keeps the pose sattvic, awake, but peaceful. Efforting, but relaxed. And then inhale and come on up. Use your hand to lift the knee and straighten both legs. So come back to center, both legs straight. There we go. And let's do each side there again. So bring your left leg back. Turn the chest to the right and walk into the depth of the pose for you. And notice how it's like a dance. You have to shift the body around. Sometimes I lift the chest more and that hip comes along, and that's okay. And then the hip descends and the chest pulls down. You know, you got to dance with the whole thing. Bring yourself in, breathe. And breathe into the side body. And then inhale, come back up, lift that left knee, and let's change sides again. Lift and turn. Deepen. And in your own pace, bring the head forward and down. And then use your hands and inhale, lift yourself back up. Straighten both legs. Now, you can move the blanket a little bit towards, towards your left, so that when you sit up on there, you still want to sit your buttock bones on there, but we're going to take Tiryang Mukha Ekapada. So that means you're going to bend your right leg, hold the ankle, lean to the left, and put the right leg in Virasana. So the heel is at your outer hip. Then you can kind of scooch yourself to the right. You want the right buttock a little off so that it can come down. Hook your right thumb there. Hook your thumbs on both sides of the hips to roll the shoulders back, to feel that your two hips are even. The right hip will have a real tendency to hike up here. Use a second blanket if you need it, it's fine. Or third blanket, or bolster, whatever. You know, you just got to get that evenness. Then the same pattern as before. Hands to the chair, lift the chest, but buttock down. You can use that back rung. Deepen into the pose, take your time. And when you're ready, see about bringing the crown or the forehead down. Then inhale, come on up. Come out in the same way you came in. Lean to your left. Hold the ankle to lift the leg. Straighten the leg. Move your blanket or blankets a little to the right. Bring your left leg into Virasana. Thumbs in the outer groin, draw down. Bring the chair into the proper space. Lift the chest. Keep letting that bent leg knee relax. Right? Sometimes, especially in Virasana legs, the knee can get kind of tense. But a lot of times that's just the necessity of needing to relax the leg. Walk the hands up. Bring yourself on in as you're ready. Inhale and come up. Straighten both legs. Sit evenly on your blanket. Buttock to the heels. Spread the mounds of the foot. Crawl up through the side ribs. Now Paschimottanasana. Keep the kneecaps lifted. Walk forward. Broaden across the chest. Deepen. You can hold the back of the chair if you like. Any amount, bend the elbows wide and begin to come in. Observe how the spreading and the mounds of the foot take the front thighs to the back thighs, giving the body something to move away from, right? The stability in the legs is important. And inhale, come on up. Now, we're going to go back to Upavishta for one moment. So use your blanket if you want it. I'm going to set mine aside. Do what you feel is best for you. So, chairs in front. Flow the buttock to the heels. And then spread the mounds of the foot. Hands to the chair. Crawl up through the side ribs. And again, bring yourself forward in any way that you want. But keep your mind's eye on those hips going down. And let your head rest for a moment. So again, it may be much, much higher than what some or most of you are accustomed to. But instead, use that space to work on the quality of your legs. Spread the back of the legs against the earth. So you really want to feel that the flesh of the back legs can really open while the outer groins are anchored down. Remember how the low back and lumbar spine felt when you spread your legs against the wall. We said keep the back against the ground, right? And then inhale, come up. Hold the inner knees and bring your legs into Badakanasana legs. So your feet don't have to be absolutely as close to your hips as you can get them. But instead, bring your hands behind your hips, lift the buttock, and flow the buttock to the back of the knees. So you kind of get that flow, and the hips might come a little closer to the heels, you'll see. Lengthen the inner leg to the inner knee, and now see about bringing your hands back up onto the chair. Remember how the legs felt when you used your hands there at the wall, right? In any amount, bring the chest forward and the head down. And then inhale, come back up. Use the hands to lift the outer legs. Set the chair aside. So now, Supta Konasana. Okay, so have a couple blankets for your outer legs. You know, if you don't have blankets, use bed pillows or something. But have something there to support the outer legs. So this is not an entirely forward bending class, obviously, but I want you to get a little bit of everything today in this restorative work. So bolster, blanket for your head, and a strap to tie your legs in. Okay. Most of you guys know how to set up Supta Konasana. Make a loop in the strap. Goes around your body and around your hips, and then through the inner knees and around the feet. Tighten the straps so that the legs are bound in. But when you go to lie back, you want to catch the lower back ribs, buttock flows to your heels, and then get that blanket so that the blanket's support from your outer ankles to your outer hips. And it should feel really good after bending forward in Badakanasana. Tuck your shoulder blades beneath you, and then if you like, you can hold the elbows and even give yourself a lot of length there. I'm all wired up here, sorry. Change the crossing of your arms if you're holding your elbows. Keep the neck soft. And then at some point, consider bringing your arms back out to the sides just so the pose can be that much more restful. Last little bit here. And now to come up, you can either undo your feet and turn onto your side, or you can just bring the hands behind the hips and inhale and sit up. Of course, remove the strap and straighten the legs. Okay, so now we're going to take Supta Virasana. So it's a little bit more of a active pose. So have as much height as you want. So if you need a little more height than just a bolster, have it, but have a bolster at minimum. So if you sit in Virasana, this is just a reminder, if when you sit in Virasana, you need a block under your buttock, right? Because we're going to sit here in front of the bolster, calves turn out. If your buttock really doesn't come down, it's okay if you hover a little, but if it really doesn't come down and you need a brick, then that is point zero. That's your starting point, meaning you have to add another bolster now, because a brick plus one bolster is more like being on the ground, right? So if I have a brick under my buttock, I have to have a minimum of 2 bolsters and maybe more. You'll have to decide what you want, or, blankets, pillows, whatever you can find. Same thing here. If you don't have a brick, you just sit on whatever you can find. If it just feels like there's no way, I'm not doing that, then instead just cross your legs in Swastikasana and lie back there, and that's fine. It gives something similar, right? But if you can, I want you to be in Supta Virasana. Why? I'll tell you why. There's really a reason. Because when you lie back in Supta Virasana, something is kind of magical in this pose, but it takes a little time to get it, of course, like anything. But if you can see my body now, right now I'm just kind of getting in there. I'm not relaxed into the pose. I've got my hips lifted. But when you learn to take the thighs down, watch what happens to the chest. The more the thighs go down, you see, the more the chest automatically lifts. So it starts to teach the kind of the coiling action in your thoracic spine. So it's really, essential. I would say useful, but it's more than that. It's something essential to learn. It doesn't mean you have to be on the ground to learn it. So while you're in that pose, Supta Virasana, feel the frontal thighs descending. You can hold your elbows in this pose and pull them overhead again. Lengthen the front thighs to let the knees come down. At some point, do let the arms rest back out to your sides, just to allow the body to release and relax into the pose. And breathe into the side ribs, neck soft. So even here, and especially here, the buttock still flows, the flesh of the buttock flows to the back of your knees, even as the thigh bones descend down. Now we're not here long. Go ahead and bring your hands behind your hips. Inhale, lift your chest and come up. Then once you're up, widen your knees. You can bring the big toes together if it's a little tight in your knees once you do that. Outer hips down, and again, come forward into child's pose. Keep those outer hips down. And then hands under your shoulders. Inhale, and come on up. And you can just swing the legs around, straighten the legs to open up the back of the knees. Okay. All right, so now we're going to take shoulder stand. I'm going to have a chair at this end of my mat. If you are on a sticky mat, then I would recommend that you put a blanket down for your head so that your head is on something that moves. So if you're on carpet or any kind of surface that's not a wooden floor or concrete floor or something, which is ideal, but you know, we don't live in an ideal world. We live in the real world. So you might not have a slick surface, but I would do that. Otherwise, you can skip that. Have 3 blankets or so for your neck and have a strap. So once you kind of get the general shoulder stand set up, built, I'll talk to you a little bit about that chair and what we're doing with it today. But you'll have your 3 blankets, you'll have your bolster for your hips, and have a strap for your elbows. The distance will be the distance of your legs. So I put my buttock bones where my shoulders are going to be, and I would want my feet to end up basically right in the middle underneath the chair. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Halasana and put our feet on the chair. We'll position our arms. We'll come up into shoulder stand. And we'll come up one leg at a time. We'll alternate the legs and then we'll come up. We'll be in shoulder stand a little bit. Then we'll bring the feet back onto the chair. And we're going to step the legs into Supta Konasana. So I'll show you in kind of fast motion what we're doing. And then we'll do it all together because you won't be able to see it when you're doing it, right? You shouldn't because you all know not to turn your head in this pose. So story is, again, this is going to be very fast motion. So just watch for a sec. You'll get that strap above your elbows and turn the arms out, palms down, hips down. We'll be there a moment. Then knees to the chest and kick overhead, Halasana. Hands will come to the back, but then we'll interlock the fingers and roll the shoulders beneath us. Now watch my hips. I flow the buttock towards my heels. Then when my hands come to my back, I spread the mounds of the foot and the frontal groin goes up a little. Then we'll take one leg up and we'll talk about the legs there. Then you'll alternate, and we'll talk about the legs. Then you'll come up by bringing your heels to the hips and lifting your thighs and coming up. We'll be up a little bit. We'll take Upavishta legs and Badakanasana legs. And then to come down, you go in the exact opposite order, heels towards your buttock. This is called Virasana in shoulder stand. Knees to the chest, feet to the chair. Then from here, one leg steps off into Supta Konasana. Then it comes back up, and then you do the other side. And then either you do that same thing again, or both legs come off, buttock to the heels, spread the mounds of the foot. Then we'll come back onto the chair, bend the knees, Karna Pidasana. Release the strap, and roll down vertebra by vertebra. And that's that. Okay? So, come on, lie back. Put the strap above the elbows and around the arms. Turn the upper arm bones out. But at the same time, turn your palm flat onto your bolster and bring the hips down. Press the palms down onto the bolster. Breathe into the chest just beneath the collarbones. Hey, take the time to do that. And then knees to the chest. Let the abdomen deflate. Take a breath. Exhale, Halasana. So you'll bring the hips up, but then bring your hands behind you, interlock the fingers, pinkies towards the floor. Exhale, flow the buttock to the heels. Keep the outer upper arms pressing down. Change the crossing of your fingers, same thing. Now, the flow of the buttock goes to the heels. The heels push away. Bring your hands onto your back body and spread the mounds of the foot, helping the front thigh press to the back thigh. Now, lift your left leg only up into shoulder stand. Push up through the heel. Press your right toes down. Get your right hip to lift towards your left foot and turn your left thigh from outside in. Mound of the left big toe to the ceiling. Outer right hip lifting. Now put the left foot back down and lift your right leg up. Press the left toes so your outer left hip lifts. Turn your right thigh from outside in. Mound of the right big toe to the ceiling. Then bring the right foot down. Keep the hands walking up the back. And then bring both heels towards your buttock and lift the knees to the ceiling. So Virasana in shoulder stand. Bear weight in your upper arms and open the front groins. Observe how the tailbone moves deeply into the body. Then straighten both legs for shoulder stand. Push the heels to the ceiling. Bring the inner foot together. Walk the hands up the back, keeping the tailbone in. And breathe in and out through the nose. Flow the shoulders towards the elbows. Then turn both legs out. Upavishta Konasana, legs flow. Right buttock to right heel, left buttock to left heel. And press the mounds of the foot away. Badakanasana, legs. Shoulder stand. Flow the shoulders to the elbows. Catch the weight in the upper arms. Turn both legs out. Upavishta Konasana, legs. Heels away. Then mounds of the foot away. Badakanasana, legs. Shoulder stand. Heels up. Buttock up. Spread the mounds of the foot. Now we're going to come down to the chair in the same way we went up. So bend the knees so that Virasana and shoulder stand happens. Then knees towards the chest. Your hands are not aggressive here now. They'll even kind of come off the back. Allow the back to round and reach through both legs to go to the seat of the chair again. Flow the buttock to the heels and put your hands back on the back. Now, take the right foot over to the right side of the chair and touch the toes on the ground. Then put them back up on the chair. Bring your left foot to the left and toes on the ground. And then back up on the chair. Either repeat that, right leg, or put both toes on the ground. Flow the buttock to the heels. Spread the mounds of the foot. Supta Konasana. Then feet back up on the chair. Bend both knees so the knees separate, but your toes kind of hook on the edge of that chair. Deflate the abdomen, Karna Pidasana. Then straighten the legs again. Release your strap. Assuming you are quite stable here, you take the arms overhead. Otherwise, hands stay by your bolster. You can take the arms to the head, look towards your toes, and slowly roll down vertebra by vertebra. Mound of the foot pressing away until finally you come all the way back down. And once the feet are down, slide back so the shoulders come off the edge of your blankets and rest there for a moment. Good, everybody. Roll onto the right hand side, push the floor away, come up. Last little bit, but we're going to come back to the wall now. So once your narrow edge of your mat against the wall, you're going to need a bolster, a strap, and a block. And maybe a blanket to lay out over your mat just because that'll feel nice. Your brick is going to be against your wall, with the bolster under our backs and the block under our heels. So the way you'll come in is like this. The strap isn't 100% required. It's just nice. Okay. So that would be around your upper thighs. And you'd tighten it down pretty well. So what I'm going to do is catch the buttock on the bolster so it lengthens towards the back of my knees. I lie back and my shoulders aren't quite down yet. So I just slide until the shoulders just barely hover. Now I already know I'm probably too close to the wall. You see, because when I put my feet on that brick, I should be able to straighten my legs. So I either have to roll off and just redo it, or maybe I can slide my bolster a little. Yeah, it worked. And yeah, now I have my distance. And the heels reach to the wall, but you also spread the mounds of the foot. And we're here, Setu Bandha Sarvangasan. Come on in. When your arms are at the side, by the way, you want to keep your elbows below the shoulders because it keeps that upper arm bone turning out, promoting the lift in the chest. Once you get that distance and the legs are straight, I'll give you a minute. Observe how the back of your heel broadens against that firm brick. Front thighs to back thighs. Lift the chest from deep inside. Okay, and then bend the knees, feet flat on the ground. You can go ahead and remove that strap here before you go anywhere. Then, as you're ready, roll to the right. Use your left hand to come up. And you'll just face the bolster from any angle, right? Face the bolster, cross your legs, and come forward and rest. Have as much height as you need. If you need more height than the bolster, just have it. And lift up and change the crossing of your legs. And then come on up and lie the body out for Shavasana. Okay. Have a pillow under your head if you need it. Make sure you get far enough away from the wall that you're not going to be running into the wall. Low back long. Shoulder blades beneath the body. Lay out in such a way that the legs flow away from you, as do the arms. Close the eyes and surrender and let go.
Observe the weight of the body Observe the weight of the body against the earth, almost like the body is nesting into the earth beneath you. Notice the skin around the eyes. Notice the mouth and the tongue. Release those areas, allowing the brain to rest back towards the back surface of the skull. As if the awareness inside throughout the entire body could rest back into the earth. And then bring the hands to rest on the frontal body. Bend the left leg, reach the right arm overhead, and turn yourself onto the right hand side. Use the left hand, push the floor away, come all the way back up. All right, everybody, that's all for this morning. Namaskar.